feel like normally I have a really good idea of what I want to start with when I make these videos, these Operation Arsenal episodes, and I just don't know today. Like, is 2-2 a good result for us? Should we have lost that game? Or is it a result that we're going to regret because we could have easily won it? I just don't know. It feels kind of fair. If I'm being really honest, guys, I was very impressed with Tottenham. They look so much better with 4 at the back, with Ange in charge. I think Postecoglou is a really good appointment for them. Son playing through the middle, out of Harry Kane's shadow a little bit. Maddison, what a signing. Both of their goals, the same combination. All 4 goals today were from mistakes. It was just a game where defined by mistakes. You could argue that every goal is often a mistake being pounced on. That's kind of how football works. If you make an error, you get goals scored against you. And it just feels like it's one of those games where I wish we were just a little bit more composed. And look, it's easy to say we've got injuries. You know, we didn't have Trossard fit because Martinelli was out as well. We couldn't have any of our first team left wingers. So we're putting Jesus out on that left side. And I do think maybe that could have been Smith Rowe. And I also wonder how Nketiah managed to finish the game today. There is some questions. I think actually towards Arteta, I'm not actually that happy. But it is a fair result. It is. We'll look at the stats in a moment. But interestingly, if you look at the match ratings, you'll probably notice that in general, Tottenham are higher rated. They've had better performances. We did have, I would say, a lackluster performance. It was not at the level we know we can perform at. And I really don't know why. We've just battered PSV midweek. How have we not taken that energy into today's game? The North London derby against a Tottenham team that, let's face it, they've started very well, but they haven't come up against a team like Arsenal that pick them apart. You know, with the gaps in defence with Udogie and Porro moving into midfield or getting forward and leaving gaps, it's almost on paper a very good chance for Arsenal to bury Tottenham today, and it just hasn't happened. Really impressed with Bissouma. I thought Sarr was very good as well. I think it's fair. I think that's the best way to explain it right now. Maybe I'll watch it back later and think, yeah, we had some really good chances. I mean, Jesus threw on goal around kind of like in this position here in the first half, and he's skied it. He's literally one-on-one with the keeper after robbing Maddison, who was slow with the ball. Tottenham are very silky playing out from the back. Honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this. I've spoken more about Tottenham than Arsenal so far in this, but they were just really impressive. I think they're going to have a much better season, and weirdly, they're almost better off without Harry Kane. But I just don't believe that. I think they would still be better off, but even better off with Harry Kane in the side. We saw him yesterday get 2 assists, 3 goals for Bayern. I feel like, you know, with Son on that left side, I didn't think Johnson was bad, by the way, but, you know, Son on the left, Kane up front with Maddison in behind, and the way they play now would have been very good. But enough about Tottenham. Don't want to talk about them. As soon as we lost Rice, it was kind of game over. You can actually see, using this momentum graph, where after half-time, we made a few changes and Rice picked up an injury. It seems to be a calf injury, which isn't the worst news ever, but they can be quite difficult to get rid of. They tend to be quite reoccurring. Despite Tottenham having more of the ball in the first half, more of the ball in general, by the way, but in the first half, Tottenham did play around with the ball in their own half a lot. But we had the momentum. We had the better chances for sure. And then you see, half-time comes around. We were under pressure a little bit. And Son obviously got his goal. It was coming, actually. They were playing very well at that point. But Declan Rice comes off, and we have that early half energy that you just have. You come onto the pitch, and you have a few moments where you're really focused. We get the penalty and score it, and then just like that, the team switched off. And look, we saw a completely different second half. Both teams looked nervous to make a mistake. And a mistake is exactly what happened when Jorginho, what rating did he get? A 5.4. Honestly, in terms of coming on and having an impact as a sub, it doesn't get much worse. He's got plenty of time and options to pass the ball, and he tries to do some stupid drag back, whatever, and he loses it to Maddison, and they just counter and score. We've quite literally dropped a win here because of Jorginho's silly little error. But we owe him for the Aston Villa goal last season. So statistically speaking, we were the better team. We've got better expected goals, although it's very even, isn't it? Really quite even. 11 corners to 4, though. That does say a lot. On to the EFL Cup now. Let's have a look at the table really quick. So we are level on points with Tottenham still. 14 points from 6 games. We're already 4 points off City. Not great. Liverpool moving into a slightly better position as well after their win. And Brighton as well. It's an interesting one, though, isn't it? I do feel like Arsenal haven't really hit second, third gear yet. I feel like Tottenham are already peaking. So I don't think this is going to stay like this. We will shift into that top 4. We'll see. We've got Brentford on Wednesday, which is a really, really tough game. And then Bournemouth on the weekend. Champions League game against Lens. And then the big one, Man City. That's going to be a massive, massive game. Sunday the 8th. Oh, and then Chelsea a couple of weeks after that. Okay, let's get your comments in. As usual, Operation Arsenal, hashtag. We've got 50 comments. I've picked out a couple here. Jamie Merrison said, I'm more worried about our injury situation than the fact that we let a lead slip twice. Saliba has saved us today. He was also my man of the match. Saliba is unquestionably our best defender. He just is. You run out of words to describe just how good he is. Even though there was a moment where he misplaced such an easy pass, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, Saliba, really? And what does he do? That unreal pace and physical presence, he just gets back and wins it back again. And all is forgiven. He's just so good, and he's only 22. It's crazy, isn't it? But the injuries are a worry, for sure, but every team's got injuries. You just can't use it as an excuse. Gunner for life, I'm guessing that's meant to look like. Fair result for both teams, agreed. I'm gutted we couldn't win, but we move. Rice going off led us to losing control of the midfield. Yeah, the Jorginho for Rice, the drop-off is quite scary, isn't it? Damn. From this point, Erdegaard's creativity was stifled. Rice is crucial to our team. Yeah, especially with no Partey as well. Honestly, for me, the biggest problem was Martinelli and Trossard being injured. We needed both of them at some point today, and that's definitely cost us. Danny says you'll not win anything unless you sign a proper centre forward. Do you guys agree with this? Because I've got to say, I think I'm starting to realise that whilst Jesus was a fantastic signing and he's obviously a very good football player, I see why City weren't relying on him. He's not an out-and-out goal scorer. He isn't going to get us 20 goals a season, and I'm starting to think we do need a proper number 9. Someone that can hold up the ball, but can play as well. Tony, 60 million in January, do it. He changes that team, honestly, and I'm all for giving Nketiah time, but I saw the stats before the game. He's almost made 100 Premier League appearances now. He hasn't even hit 25 goals yet. He's not even getting a goal every 4 games. Is he going to kick on? He's 24 now, right? It's not like he's that young anymore. And Jesus, with the injuries, of course, I understand that, but he isn't a prolific striker. He's basically a winger that plays up top. He's a winger with good finishing. I'm sorry, but it is true. And I'm starting to think, opinions like Danny's here, it's just true. Every team needs a top centre forward, and we don't really seem to have that. Lastly here, Lou says, as much as it pains me to say, Spurs have improved massively over the last year. They really have. They were like a completely different side. We really never found momentum in the game. And if only Jesus scored that chance. It's true. If he scores that 2-0, I don't think Tottenham get back in the game. On to the EFL Cup. Yeah, it's a big one. It really is. We need to be, I think, challenging for that. We need to be going for it. One thing I really want to talk about is the penalty. Now, if you are sitting there right now and you don't think That was a penalty when Romero blocked the Ben White shot that was going into the back of the net with his wrist. If you don't think that was a penalty, all I can do is recommend that maybe you try a different sport. The amount of people, including Gary Neville of all people, I just don't understand how you can watch that and come to some conclusion that it's just not a penalty. How? Where's his hand meant to be is what I hear. I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter. If you block a shot that's literally going, the ball was going in the back of the net, it was a goal. If you block that with your arm or your hand, what else is it? We're just going to play on. Oh, he was blocking, with his legs and his hands just happened to be there. He was counterbalancing because he was falling. If you start doing that, if you start agreeing that that's okay, you're going to get players pretending to be falling over and just going like this. We might as well have goalkeepers in every position. If that's not a penalty, I stop watching football. You can't block a shot with your hand. Mistake, accident or not. You've stopped a goal with your arm. It doesn't get more stonewall than that. And hearing Gary Neville, for example, say that he doesn't think it's a penalty and that everyone's confused about it. No, Gary, I'm not. I'm not confused about that. It actually blows my mind. And the fact that the referee had to go and see that on the monitor? What planet are we on? Absolutely mind-boggling. It really is. The referee has seen that live in action in front of his eyes. And he hasn't blown the whistle for a penalty? Unreal. Absolutely unreal to me. But guys, it's still an okay result. We haven't lost this season. We haven't lost. We're good. Okay? Tottenham at home, very beatable. We should have won the game. On another day we do. But it doesn't, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't mean too much that we've come away with a draw today and we move on. We've made a good start to the season. It is tricky. It's very, very tricky to be consistent. Every game is so tough and we're going to have more games flying at us. God, this Christmas period coming up. Oof. It's going to be a lot. And players are going to start dropping like flies. So this is just the beginning of, I think, what could be a bit of an injury crisis at Arsenal, but every club is the same. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Arsenal Career Mode back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Just as always, want to clarify, weekdays Career Mode, weekends Arsenal. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.